Oya ta nole sajo kawala yoba ina ta ngarosu tane moshi pare mo moshi basu de seyina yitene de nene la nene soso ko machepi wo to soso ko nomi ene de lumbali ene de mato ko sele ina tane peto chimbo ina tane jawa chimbo chi tone de jaga yos.
So Geshe gives his greetings to all of you, to any place that you are within the world, the people that he knows, the people that he doesn't know, and he hopes that anybody who listens to this talk is able to derive a benefit, and that they are similarly able to bring benefit to their family, friends, the people in their country, and so forth.
오타 ngarosu mato to seyina shito rwa mato shikita to inare mai inare ani League Deshi, the Segi Deshi Kanga, Yoba, any Chevateni Yoba, Chibachi Res.
So, any type of sentient being that we speak of, whether human or animal, both humans and animals, in terms of happiness, the happiness of the mind, mental happiness, and the happiness of the body, physical happiness, there is no being that does not strive towards that.
Ota Tinoni Milmandrava, Miliabo, any Levayabo, Zachimbo, Nipachimbo, Tochimbo.
So then within the different types of sentient beings, of course, the human rebirth is exceptional because of the extraordinary human intelligence. Because of the extraordinary human intelligence and the human condition, then this is something that is a particularly powerful, beneficial rebirth.
오다 텔레트니 대요바 아니 여다 텔리지 잘라 자친 뭐지 요아이자 텔레트니 레카이나 이트니 건도도 만다 레바야 범리야 버텔 레카 같이 뭐 자친 뭐 제지야 다 디콜 되죠.
So what Geshe is going to be explaining is, now that we have this human rebirth, we want to make ourselves different from the animals. Now that we have this brain and intelligence, we want to make it something that is meaningful. We want to make it something that is worthwhile.
오다 디노네트니 리기 대시도 세기 대시 니가노네 세기 대시도 가치가 세기 대시도 가지 그게 피터보도 템보스슈나 아니 리라요 tel라테네 페도 쳔보 요바테도 릴 강에 제바 이나요 오다 디 강에 만에 봤더니 오다 기고치는 대처가 거가 뭐뭐요.
So then, in terms of the two types of happiness that were mentioned, the mental happiness and the physical happiness, out of these two, it is the mental happiness that is the most important. And if we are able to apply tools that allow us to have this stable mental happiness, this is something that is very beneficial, because with this mental happiness, even if our body experiences pain, experiences problems, we will be able to remain undisturbed.
나로서 강가치바레 되어래 시고 돈바스이나이 또 뭐치바레 네츠 코론도 또 따다시 지금 나에서 나망아마 로좀 뭐뭐 진요는 뭐뭐 진 코로서 소화기고 오다 세기고 리드고 간디지 용어도 따지 뭐뭐 진행 나로서 미 지저져야 네츠 뭐뭐지요.
So then, it's important also to understand that in the beginning, those beings that are holy beings now, they were exactly the same as us. They didn't know the path forward, the way to proceed. But on the basis of their study and on the basis of their practice, they were able to come to this understanding and to progress along this path. This is important to understand.
오다 나로서 강가 기발에 오다 들리지자 아니 기보지네라 아까서와 로조이네레 녀레 다니지데 템보치기 마세데 헬레 야고지노이 손도토네 내가 지야 뭐야.
So then it's all very important for us to try to achieve this state of happiness, to have a stable study and a stable practice, but at the same time have a happy and relaxed mind. This is the way to proceed.
오다 변화 단다이나 신양으로서 취대 전설 신기 전부터는 교제되는 리와레라 오다 야시오 동바 코로소가 세계세리 타시마 주조레도 하래 코로소로 유치 놀래시네나 땡아로서 마치체리와레 노마이 그거야 아마리 치와이 그거야 아마리 나로서 텔로조치 아까 게세 세트되는데 와스트와서나 소소르케도 좀 하래.
So then, in terms of the verses that Geshe shares with us from the Bodhisattvacaryavatara, the way of the Bodhisattva and others, these are things that the holy beings discovered themselves through their own study, through their own practice. They developed these experiences and understanding, which they passed down to us. And in terms of these instructions, you don't have to be Buddhist. You don't even necessarily have to be religious to derive benefit. If you are able to mix or apply these instructions with your mind, you will achieve something.
오다 드리나 신지 첨부 지가 첨부 실로카기 마치데 근데 디토는 그런 알아서 로주시 내레시나 니빠야 보라에 유네레 소소 센도와 또야 유네레 소소 기바 오다 너무 기바 오 강가기 워쳐야 돼 아니 오자자자 좀 된대요.
So then today Geshe will share with us a shloka or a verse from Shantideva's Bodhisattvacaryavatara. And then on the basis of a study and practice of this verse and developing our understanding, we ourselves will be able to become happier. Those people around us, such as our family, will become happier, and so forth.
다 지 매매 할일 같이 해서 가서 말해. 지도 자ችን 뭐 이따 결라되는 나로서 계속 좀 뭐니까 뭐 리레서 해야 이따 지도 맞죠.
So Geshe is just explaining that in terms of this verse that he is going to share with you, it is something that is very powerful and very precious. Not only will one plant good potentials or imprints within the mind, but one is also able to accumulate vast virtuous karma.
오다 세계에 대 야쇼를 지고 다 배인데시 그래요. 스타리 드리슐로 같이가 아니 간디스레스나 이 쇼나 거세 쇼주센 다시는 내내 대원 로와라 세시 스시 줄은저.
So this verse is explaining the benefits of the most important positive mental qualities. And Geshe is reading Shantideva's verse from the Bodhisattvacaryavatara. Having mounted the horse of an awakening mind that dispels all discouragement and weariness, who, when they know of this mind that proceeds from joy to joy, would ever lapse into despondency or would ever lapse into discouragement.
오다 대이쇼나 거세 다 단다 좋은 데서 자야 돼. 아니 다 소소 그게 대화 침묵길래 어느 수준은 건데 내키지나 좀 받은 이제 자와지고 좀 세트.
So Geshe is just speaking about the first verse, and it's interesting that in the English translation, the second verse comes first, but I'm going to read it in the order that it appears in the Tibetan. So the first verse would be mounted the horse of an awakening mind. So Geshe said that if one is a Mahayana practitioner who wishes to proceed to Buddhahood, here we understand that we're talking about that essential awakening mind, bodhicitta rooted in love and compassion.
누가 되는 미나요? 우리가 시도는 키 면해봐이나요? 다다데 저 sem야 세금 논에 세 야쇼 논에 말로서 내가 미네 때게 세 야쇼 논에 야쇼도 가르쳐서 정바치 뭐 이지 친구로서.
So Geshe is explaining that even if one is not necessarily a Buddhist, if one is not necessarily religious, that developing this mind can be extremely beneficial, because we can understand that this awakening mind is rooted in love and compassion, and if one develops these important minds of love and compassion, it can definitely bring forth a meaningful happiness.
다치 돈버테 가르치고 야래세나 대이쇼가 거세. 我想把全部一起全部，我想去写了，俺都是个写法，这都我们里边那边上的那个说，大家个点写法一呢，我打你个干呢，干呢全部，其实干这是一呢，写个干呢，我不给，说啊，可是我干呢干到了没吧，才要国家级啊。
So what is this verse, having mounted the horse of the awakening mind, telling us and proceeding from joy to joy? This is telling us that if we consider these teachings on love and compassion, and if we mix them with our mind, like mixing milk together with water, then not only our temporary problems, but also our big problems, our ultimate problems, will be able to be reduced and eventually completely cleared away.
이나요 계속 소설을 하요. 대용 타리미 계속 개자만했어. 단단히 님만이 까마치만 소노마도 까마치를 소설 계속 시월에 대해 알았어. 할레비깔에 가고 빠져서 그거 고자 그거.
So you don't have to think about this mind in a very sort of complicated way. You don't even necessarily have to be able to meditate it on completely, but when we think about this mind of bodhicitta that is rooted in love and compassion, although it is through thinking about others that we give rise to this mind, the person that benefits the most is us ourselves. We get great benefit from that, and it is not even as if to get the benefits we have to practice for a long time. We can get the benefits right now, right from this moment. If we bring forth the mind of bodhicitta into our mind stream even just for 1 minute, we will experience great benefit. This is very clear. So, if we think about it, the reason is very clear. From day to day, from hour to hour, if we look at those minds that make us unhappy, they are those minds that hold some far away and others near, these minds of attachment or aversion. It's these negative or unwholesome minds that bring us these states of unhappiness, of dissatisfaction. So Geshe is just explaining that it is through these negative minds, through these unwholesome minds of particularly attachment, anger, and ignorance, which is the root, through which all the other branch afflictions like pride, jealousy, and so forth stem. And so these are actually the sources of our problems. It is almost like the mind is a clear body of water, and these afflictions are like the garbage that is within it. And we can see this very clearly from our own experience, that when the mind is in an afflicted state, we are immediately unhappy. And then our way of speaking also becomes unhappy. Our kind of expression on our face becomes unhappy. And because of that, not only are we ourselves unhappy and dissatisfied, but also the people that have to deal with this, that come close to us, we similarly are a cause for their unhappiness. So, whether we really think about having compassion or love for ourselves, real love for ourselves, but also having compassion for our family, friends, neighbors, and so forth, what we want to do is we want to bring forth these minds of love and compassion. And if we bring forth these minds of love and compassion, then in that way we will be able to get rid of many difficulties. So here we are talking about the first and second lines of the verse, so in English order in the reverse, that which dispels all discouragement and despondency, having mounted the horse of the awakening mind, or bodhicitta. So we have to check this ourselves to see how can this mind really clear away that discouragement. So Geshe is explaining that if you look at yourself, or indeed if you look at any other person, it's not possible to have anger prominent in the mind at the same time you have love or compassion, right? Because they're kind of opposed to each other.
어챈들 끼고 셔와네 근데 끼고 주고는 나서 바까 강가 소소라파는
So if we are able to bring within the mind the antidote to these afflictions, the antidote of the positive mental qualities that were mentioned, then, as it says, we will be able to go in the second verse, the mind that proceeds from joy to joy. So not just the temporary joy right now, day-to-day joy, but the joy of this lifetime and the joy of lifetime to come.
다시 동바 코로스 따제 뭐 지금 뒤내서 시워지 하고 사이다 좀바 첨보 이지 첨보 전주 세르 다시 와 노지 다 전주 센지 다시니 세근도 된도네 된데 무슨 끼고 다디나 끼고 셔와니 끼고 지는 코로스 뭐가
So the holy beings, it is from checking within their own mind to see what happened. It's very clear when they brought forth this love, compassion, and bodhicitta. And so these positive mental qualities in the verse, they are likened to the horse. And from mounting this horse of bodhicitta, mounting this horse of the awakening mind, they were able to achieve the happiness of this lifetime to come, up to realization.
다 세르노다 저게 강가 꽉게 다미 야쇼데 좀바도 니지 전주 세상 다때 자본하고 주저래
So
니빠 첨보 또 첨보
So in terms of the difficult minds that come up, the problems that come up, in terms of the antidotes, bodhicitta, love, and compassion, these are like the kings of antidotes because they are so powerful for overcoming the unwholesome minds.
어따치 지와데 대수기도 와 세시 스시 지는 저 디네스데 시나 실로 좀 머신 원래 머신에 세레진 되게 대인님이 세두는 건 로그래
So that's why the last line says, having understood this mind that proceeds from joy to joy, and then we have the last line, who would ever lapse into despondency? So having understood the benefits of this mind, why be discouraged? One would immediately want to engage with it.